Chris Sims joining us. So let me ask you, as somebody that played in the league and somebody that's played with, Mac Brown, John Gruden, Jeff Fisher, Josh McDaniels, you've played with demanding coaches, Chris, and egos and coaches. So Matt LaFleur, now they draft Jordan Love. Do you think Aaron thinks, Matt could have stopped that? What do you think Aaron thinks today about that and Matt and the fact, not just getting Jordan Love, but will it create strain with Matt LaFleur?
Right. That's a good question. I haven't heard a lot of people bring that point up. I mean, one, I would think if I just put myself in Aaron Rodgers' shoes right now, I would be sitting there going, if Matt LaFleur didn't want this to happen, I would think he'd have the power to make that not happen and say that's a little ridiculous, right?
That's what I think.
Right. I agree there. Again, I don't think that Brian Gutekunst, who I have a lot of respect for and has done a lot of good things there. Listen, I'm a little puzzled by their draft. I certainly didn't like it. I would have gone all in on Rodgers. I mean, we're in the era of quarterbacks playing till they're 40 years old.
Yeah.
This is it's a quarterback that's still playing top 5 in football. I know he's no longer the best quarterback in football, but he's certainly in the class with Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. He is in that top 5 class for me still. And that's where I don't understand it. And, yes, I think, the Green Bay Packers are playing with fire here. One, they've really empowered Rodgers now. That's the one thing I think a lot of people are losing, sight of here. They're looking at, have they taken power back from Rodgers? Maybe over the long haul, but for the next 2 years, they're stuck with Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Look at the salary cap situation. So he's going to be able to say, hey, screw you, I'm going to change the play. What are you going to do about it? Oh, I'm not going to be here in 3 years maybe. And that empowers him to a degree, but I still just don't understand it. And, not to give him weapons. And then more importantly, Colin, their run defense stunk last year.
Yeah.
They got run over by every good running team they played on the schedule last year.
Yep.
And to not address that is also puzzling.
Yeah, and Blake Martinez is kind of a tackle machine.
Right.
And he left. So, no, I mean, these are, listen, the wide receiver thing, you know what I looked at when I looked at the Packers draft? They got a blocking tight end, another running back, and three interior linemen offensively. What they were saying to me was, listen, we got pushed over by the Niners twice and by the Chargers. We can't block people. We just can't block people. So I get what they did. I just wouldn't have done the running back. I get the blocking tight end, and I get the interior O-lineman. I would have just for imagery gotten a receiver over a running back. That pick bothered me. That high.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that bothered me a lot, too. And, with Aaron Rodgers, I've said this, and, of course, I'm the leader of his fan club. I know that. I think he's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play. And, I know that everybody feels that way. But, also what it tells me, too, to a degree, is just they expect Rodgers to make more magic. I mean, I don't know if we've seen a quarterback really over the last 8 to 10 years have to carry their team more than Aaron Rodgers. Here's a stat I stumbled across today. Do you know how many touchdown passes he's thrown to a first-round pick? 1 to Mercedes Lewis, who just got there a few years ago. But I think that just tells you about the type of talent they've had around him at the wide receiver position for a long, long time there. It's him making chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what a lot of the times, and he's able to do that. But he's getting to the part of his career where he's not going to be able to do it the same way he always did. We saw last year some moments of going, ooh, I'm used to seeing Rodgers get away from that guy when he's under pressure and he got tripped up, or, ooh, he usually throws a fastball into that tight window and maybe he lost a mile per hour or two on that fastball. It's still one of the greatest arms in the league, but again, this is a human, and we're starting toward the down part of his career. There's no doubt about that, but I just think we're a far ways off before we're having the conversation of let's replace him and start thinking about the future.
Now, here's where I'll push back. I tell my kids this all the time. Don't be a victim. Our problems are not everybody else's problems. Is that his dad's called him out, a brother's called him out, teammates have called him out. There was the article where the GM called him out. Couldn't I say, listen, Aaron's talented, but I don't see people calling out Drew Brees and Tom Brady. Some of this is on Aaron, that he's a little prickly, can be absolutely condescending, and he's got to own some of his own baggage here.
Well, listen, they're not, hey, all these guys, Brady and Breeze, they're a pain in the butt too. I can promise you that. They have but you're right. I understand exactly what you're saying. Rodgers is prickly. He is a little sensitive, or hears what people are saying and kind of carries that baggage around with him. Definitely, I don't deny that to one degree. I think the big thing is there though, where I would just say is again. It's the culture that's set up by the Saints and Patriots that don't allow it. Green Bay is a culture of we draft a quarterback, we treat him like God, and we just let him run the team. And they did that with 2 quarterbacks in a row, with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of the way the organizations run. Hey, there's no owner in the building. So these guys become bigger than life in a place like Green Bay. Where in New England, hey, we know the culture is set forth first by Bill Belichick, and then the same with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. They're happy a lot of the time because they got good talent. And every time they drop back to pass, they look and they go, damn, there's somebody wide open. There we go again. That's great. Rodgers hasn't always had that luxury. And I think that's where, there's a little difference there, I guess, in just the cultures they were raised in, I'm saying. And Aaron Rodgers has to be kind of his own entity as compared to Breeze and Brady, which seem more organizational type guys. But from Aaron Rodgers, he took over from Brett Favre, and it's a little like Peyton Manning. From day one, he was, hey, Aaron, you need to throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns or we can't win the football game. And that's kind of the way the culture's been up in Green Bay. And, of course, that breeds a little bit of an ego and a guy that, of course, is wants to run the show a little bit more.
No, I think it's a fair point. The culture is quarterback save us. It's not a free agent destination. You're going to have to. You're going to be a little bit of a star. And let's throw this out there. It's the smallest NFL market. It's like Shaq in Orlando. So when you have this sort of a belief system, which is we can't get free agents, you really are going to run the franchise. And it's also a small town. So, Damon Stoudemire told me this years ago. He loved playing in Toronto. He goes, I just disappear. We got a baseball team. We got a CFL team. We got an NBA team. It's an international city. He goes, I put a hat on. I disappear. I go to Portland. He goes, I'm an NBA player. And so I do think when you're the quarterback in Green Bay, more than any city, you can't go to the grocery store, to your point.
No, you become godlike.
Yes.
I think that's what you're saying.
Yes.
You become like you're a true icon of the state, key to the city. You're the man. You're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah. Let me shift to this. Sam
Darnold and Baker came in at the same time. But last year, Darnold goes 7-6, A, battling mono, and B, with very little help. Baker last year had tons of help. Melted down off the field, called out his medical staff, goes 6-10, and was a mess. I think this is Baker's last year. I think they have too much talent. I think he's made too many missteps. I think if Darnold was 500, they would maybe move off Gase, but they would stay with Sam. His traits and qualities would buy him a year. I don't know if Baker has built that equity up. What say you on those two came in as high profile? Others have outplayed him. I think this is it for Baker. I think he'll be given the year. I think Derek Carr won't last the year, perhaps. I think Trubisky may not start the year. So where do you land? We're moving off young quarterbacks faster than ever. Jameis can't get a legit job. Cam can't get a job. Dalton's now out of work and he's young. Mariota. So where do you land on the Baker thing and the Darnold thing right now? I've always been a Darnold fan, but I do think Baker's up against the wall here.
Well, listen, I agree with a lot of what you said there. Yeah, this is a huge year for Derek Carr. You're spot on there. I do think if that just becomes a 8-8, 7-9 type record, that they will look somewhere else in next offseason at quarterback. You've said it about Trubisky. I don't even think they can start Trubisky. I mean, if Trubisky throws one incompletion in Chicago, people are going to boo him off the field and say, get Nick Foles in there.
Yeah.
So I expect Nick Foles to be the day one starter there in Chicago when all's said and done. And, I agree with you, in the Baker-Sam Darnold conversation. I don't know if I agree with you in the aspect that this will be it. This will be the 1 year. No, I don't think they're going to give up on their number one pick quite like that. But I think there's tremendous pressure on Baker Mayfield. I think out of those 5 quarterbacks that we saw drafted in the first round of that draft, he probably has more pressure on him than any of them, right? Josh Allen went to the playoffs. You just mentioned what Sam Darnold kind of did. Lamar Jackson, of course, is the MVP of football, and Josh Rosen's not a part of the conversation right now. But yes, Baker set a bar that was kind of high his rookie year when we went, whoa, oh, man, okay, this guy was worth the number one pick. Look at him. He's making plays and throws. Certainly regressed last year. Had a lot of errant throws, bad decisions. I think some other things went on where he changed plays and wasn't supposed to at times, too. And there was issues like that. Added to the fact of what you said, there was tremendous talent around him last year. I mean, they underachieved. And
Yes.
OBJ, we know, wasn't 100%. But I think that does add more pressure on him than just about any quarterback in football, especially now that they've added 2 tackles to the group. And you really sit there in the offense and you go, that Cleveland offense is really well built. They have no excuse not to be like a top 3, top 5 offense in the sport. So I'm with you. The only thing I'll say with Sam Darnold, and I really like him, in his first 2 years, he's been able to avoid the pressure-packed part of the schedule. Like last year, you mentioned he got the mono. Okay, he came back. The season was over. They were already 0 for 5, 0 for 4, something like that, around that, to where it was almost like, okay, hey, Sam's back and he looks good, but we're out of the race here. And the year before that, he hurt his foot right kind of in the meat and the potatoes of the season. So I've liked everything. Like, I'm with you with Sam Darnold. I've liked everything I've seen. They got to put some talent around him. I think they've gone a long way to do that in the offseason, the free agency, and the draft. And I expect him to be like a much more hot topic conversation next year, to be in, watch out for the Jets. They're building something there. I love what Joe Douglas did in the draft as the GM. And I think Adam Gase has finally got some pieces where he can play with and make his offense evolve around Sam Darnold and make it effective that way.
Think Patriots go after Andy Dalton?
Maybe. I would say I doubt it. I think I think the New England Patriots and this is their plan. I think this is why they drafted Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham would go into that group a little like Drew Lock from last year's draft too, where if they left school the year before, they would have been first-round picks. But we're in the era of when the team falls down, we blame all the downfalls on just one guy. I mean, the year before, Drew Lock led the college football in touchdown passes. The team fell apart. We blamed him. Same thing with Jarrett Stidham. Auburn was awesome his junior year. Senior year, he had the worst pass protection I saw at any quarterback in that draft and had no help. And then, therefore, we went, Stidham, he's not a winner. And I don't think New England gives a damn what everybody else thinks. I think they saw a guy in Stidham that they thought could possibly be that next guy. So I expect them to stay with Hoyer and Stidham. Let Stidham play the year out. If it's an underwhelming year, then, as you know, New England will have a plan to proceed from there on out.
Chris Sims, NBC analyst, NBC Sports, NFL analyst. He doesn't analyze NBC. He analyzes football.
Sometimes I analyze NBC.
Good talking to you, Chris.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.